What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cars with Abe. Today we are taking off the valve covers of the Ford Falcon over here, and we are going to paint them. Finally clean up the engine bay just a little bit, but we have a really nice surprise. I think I had mentioned that I was going with black valve covers again, but that's not the case. We got a better color. So anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's dive right into it. Should be pretty simple. It's a beautiful day here in Texas, so it's not too hot, not too cold, not rainy, obviously. And what we're gonna do is let it sit out here after painting some, bake to help it dry a little bit faster. Now, I can't stress this enough. I have never painted anything on a car in my entire life, so this should be interesting. If I'm doing it wrong, oh well. So this is a learning curve for me for sure. It's not a how-to video or anything like that, but without further ado, let's dive right into it. Okay, so I really want to film this just so you guys have a before and after. We may paint this as well while we're painting the valve covers. I imagine and I hope that it will look nice once we're all done with it. But anyways, here's what it looks like before. Hopefully it spruces things up just a little bit. I'm pretty excited to get inside here as well, because for the first time get a little bit of a sneak peek what's underneath and inside the engine, underneath those valve covers there. Take a look at like the push rods, rocker arms, and all that. I am super stoked, and just to kind of inspect it. We're not doing anything with it just yet. Hopefully they're in pretty good shape and nothing too alarming to where we have to replace something or adjust something immediately, but at least we'll know. So this is the first look inside the car, and man, I gotta be honest with you, considering all things, it's not that bad, but it is most definitely dirty, which is expected. But check it out. It kind of looks like we have a little sludge. For the most part, not too bad. The valve cover gasket is completely shot, so now we have to go around and clean all of that, make a smooth surface again. I bought us some handy dandy Felpro cork gaskets, so that should go well. Made sure that it was the right one, so hopefully there's no hiccups here. But in order to paint the valve covers the color that we want, I do have to go to our local O'Reilly's, so that way we can pick up the specific paint color, because we kind of changed it last minute. So in between this video, I will have to shoot over to the store, get the paint. It should be ready now, and just clean up everything and start the process. Okay, first of all, I just want to pair these up together here and check out the difference so far. We got the clean one, I should say cleaner, and then we have the dirty one. Check that out. Look how dirty and grimy and old it is, but that's okay. They're on their way of looking beautiful. We have another one down, just drying off a little bit, cleaned up pretty decent. And next is sand. Now comes the hard part. What we're gonna go ahead and do is take off all this old dried up valve cover gasket on both sides. But look at that, that's as hard as a rock. I forgot how much it sucked to scrape off valve cover gaskets that's been on for centuries probably. This has got to be the biggest piece that I have gotten off yet, which I'm actually super stoked, because oh my gosh, it's taking forever. Just have to have so much patience with this, and sometimes I gotta admit I don't have patience. Just so y'all know, these are the kind of chunks of pieces that are coming off, not the one that I showed you before. I went ahead and vacuumed up a little bit and cleaned up in the intake divots here. All right, this should be good enough, I think. Check this out. It's a really night and day difference already. Got inside and out. We just need to wipe it down a little more, and then let's go ahead and start the first coat, really. Also, I took this off right here. This is the bracket for the ignition coil, so that way we can paint this black. We're not painting it the same color as the valve covers. All right, so this is our makeshift painting station. Do not judge. So we have the valve covers. We have this thingamajig that we are going to paint as well. I'm pretty excited, not gonna lie. Hopefully all this turns out great, because as I mentioned before, we're not a professional. I'm not a professional, and hopefully it doesn't look unprofessional. You have before and now you have after. Check it out so far. Of course, this is just primer, but man, I'm pretty stoked to see the difference and it to finally go back on the car, dress up the car pretty nicely. Not bad at all. So you have both sides. Check it out. Man, it looks super clean now. I'm super stoked. That's right, we opening up a paint shop. Makeshift paint shop.
Few moments later.
And that is the color. So that is the blue that we ended up going with. I know this one is kind of dinged up, but what I was trying to do is go with their original Ford blue color that it already has. Now, I'm fully aware that it doesn't match and we're gonna have to paint additional items to make everything match. I'm fully aware that it's not the original Ford color, that blue, because we're trying to do it on the cheap, but honestly, it's turning out really well. Now, this part here has a few dings and scratches on it, as you could tell before, so I'm not really concerned. We might end up replacing that one anyways, but you know, it's all about dressing the engine up just ever so slightly, a little bit at a time, so that way it eventually starts looking like, hey, someone's working on this thing. But let's go ahead, let's wait for this to dry. We have the bracket to paint black. We're not gonna paint it the blue. And then of course the blue on the valve covers while those are baking in the sun.
A few moments later.
All right, finished product, check it out. There's some discrepancies here, but let me tell you, for the first time, I don't think it's so bad. Old valve covers looking brand new. This is gonna look real nice on that Ford. I can't wait. All right, so as we are continuing on with the Falcon and putting some things together while the valve covers are drying, we're kind of fighting daylight here, and I wanted to get a good picture of the sun hitting the engine bay and everything so you can really tell the difference. But basically, we already got the coil back in. The bracket looks amazing. And then I already test fitted the valve cover gasket, so that's good. At least we know that all the bolt holes line up, so that's awesome. And then of course each side of the engine is completely cleaned up, ready to be pieced back together. So let's get to it. Oh boy, that's the first look. Now it's not fastened, but here we have one side, and oh man, it looks so good. It looks so refreshed, so refined. And at last, we have them fully installed, and check it out. They are not exactly the Ford blue. You can see the difference right here. Oh, we gotta put this back on right like so. Okay, you can see that the blue is very similar to the old school blue, but the old school blue, it's very bright. So I will say that it's close, but not close enough. However, I think we did a phenomenal job, not to toot my own horn or anything, but for our first time painting and just doing something that we don't do typically ever have done. Anyway, check it out. We've also vacuumed and cleaned up the divots in the intake manifold as you saw before. So it looks a little bit cleaner, but imagine how it will look once we're able to paint the intake manifold. So one last look, check it out. Yes, we do have to put the breather on, but that's no big deal. We'll just put that on in 5 minutes after that. But look at this. And of course, you got to get a leak check. She's good. So far so good. Nothing pouring out, so that's a plus. I know she's got to warm up and everything, but it's always nice not to get a major leak right off the bat. Anyways, that sums up today's video. If you liked it, please smash that like button and don't forget to consider subscribing. It helps me out greatly. Y'all have a great evening. Peace.